Hemphill was born in Asheville, North Carolina, to Richard and Mozella Hemphill. She had a brother, William. Hemphill attended Hill Street School and Stevens Lee High School, and later won an athletics scholarship to Morristown College where she majored in physical education. Hemphill returned to Asheville 2 years later and got a job in a factory manufacturing nylons. An aspiring stand-up comedian, Hemphill sent a cassette tape of one of her comedy routines to Flip Wilson. Wilson was impressed by her routine and in turn, sent her a cassette recorder and a dozen roses. Wilson also invited Hemphill to visit the set of the Flip Wilson show. After the visit, Hemphill returned to her job in Asheville but decided to pursue a career in comedy instead. She quit her job and traveled to Los Angeles by bus. Hemphill got a job waitressing during the day and performed at the Comedy Store at night. By 1976, Hemphill's stand-up routine started to get noticed and caught the attention of casting agent Joan Murray. Murray cast Hemphill in a guest role on Good Times, which led to another guest starring role on All's Fair. After seeing her performance on Good Times, Norman Lear offered Hemphill her own spin-off series but she turned it down. Instead she auditioned and won the role of waitress Shirley Wilson on the ABC sitcom What's Happening. Loosely based on Eric Monte's 1975 film Cooley High, the series follows the adventures of three teenaged boys, Raj, Ernest Thomas, Rerun, Fred Berry, and Dwayne, Haywood Nelson. Hemphill's character worked at Rob's Place, the restaurant the boys frequented. The series was a modest hit for ABC but was beset with behind-the-scene problems. In the series' second season, Fred Berry and Ernest Thomas staged a walkout over conditions in their dressing rooms which they said were unsuitable. During the series' third season, Fred Berry demanded more money and reportedly convinced Ernest Thomas and Haywood Nelson to join him in a strike. Producers opted to cancel the series instead of increasing the actors' salaries. Following the cancellation of What's Happening, Hemphill auditioned for the role of the cook on Archie Bunker's Place, but the role went to Mira. The day after losing the role, Hemphill was offered the starring role in her own sitcom 1 in a Million. On the series, she portrayed Shirley Simmons, a taxi driver who inherited a huge corporation fortune from one of her customers. The series debuted on ABC on January 8, 1980, but failed to attract a sufficient audience. ABC canceled the series in June 1980. Afterward, Hemphill spent most of the early 1980s working in nightclubs around the U.S. and making occasional guest appearances on TV shows, including The Love Boat and Trapper John, M.D. In 1985, she was invited to co-star on the revival of What's Happening. Entitled What's Happening Now?, which aired in syndication from 1985 to 1988. After What's Happening Now ended its 3-year run, she again worked the nightclub scene and doing the occasional acting gig on a number of 90s comedy sitcoms, including Martin and the Wayans Brothers. In 1993, she appeared in her first movie, CB4, which starred Chris Rock. 2 years later she co-starred in her second movie, Shoot the Moon, starring Whitney Anderson. Throughout her career, Hemphill performed her stand-up routine on a number of popular TV shows including The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, A&E's An Evening at the Improv, BET's Black Comedy Showcase and Black Comedy Tonight. She was also a regular at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club in Los Angeles. A year before her death, Hemphill appeared in an episode of The Jenny Jones Show in a What's Happening reunion show. Actors Ernest Thomas and Haywood Nelson also appeared. On December 10, 1999, Hemphill was found dead at her home in West Covina, California, aged 52. Her body was discovered by a gardener who looked through a window and saw her lying on her bedroom floor. An autopsy determined that Hemphill died of kidney failure. She was cremated.